We're gonna go live. I'm just gonna make sure the lights, the visual is good. I want to make sure the audio quality is much better than the last one. Someone will tell me if the lights needs adjustment and what the sound sounds like. Uh, I hope everyone is doing very well. Someone asked me today how was I doing, and I said very well. Is because that's exactly how I feel. Today was very productive. It was busy as well. Just the type of busy where so much thing is happening at the time. The good type of busy. Just getting the work done. You know, getting the work done, handling the task that needed to be handled, following up on things that needed following up on. Um, got off, did everything I needed to do, and I drove right back home. Um, because I heard something that made me feel very empowered and it made me feel very charged while I was listening to it. So I took down so many notes, and I feel very compelled to share with the world. I appreciate everyone for joining in. Today, I remember writing it down. Today, I want to talk about something that we know very well about, right? We've heard people talk about it. We've heard people sing about it. It's actually we've heard people with it as their name, people named after it. So this is something we know about, but do we know exactly how to use it? And the thing I'm talking about is called faith, right? Faith, Faith, right? So what's the definition of faith, right? So let's see what's the definition of faith. What is the definition of faith, right? It says faith is a strong belief or trust in something or someone, often without direct proof or tangible evidence, right? So faith is a strong belief or trust in something or someone, often without direct proof or tangible evidence, right? So basically, faith is something that we expect, right? Without being able to see it. We just know that this thing is gonna happen, right? We have this strong belief in us that this thing is gonna happen, even though we cannot see it or quote unquote, uh, it's not there for us, you know. So that's what we're gonna talk about, faith, right? And the definition of it was that I think faith is expectation, right? When you expect something, you believe it's gonna happen. When you start your car up, right? You know it's gonna start. You expect it to start. When I turn the light switch on, I expect it to come on. I expect the light to come on. There's zero doubt about it. So that's what faith is, right? In the Bible, there's a verse. I've been learning so much from the Bible. There's a gentleman called Myron Golden, and I enjoyed the way he talks about it. Like he breaks it down in a way where I've been able to like learn so much from it and just understand exactly what was going on in the Bible and how we can apply it to our current life and whatever mission that we have, right? And it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, right? And expectation is the human being's greatest superpower, right? And if you don't know how to use it, society, right, is going to use it against you, right? I'm going to read that again. It says, expectation really is the human being's greatest superpower. And if you don't know how to use it, society will use it against you, right? The Bible verse is, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And the big part of it he was saying was the critical part of that verse is now, right? The now in that verse matters because, and I'll tell you why. Because the easiest time to have faith is when you don't need it, right? The easiest time we have faith is usually when we don't need it, everything is all fine and everything is great, right? The hardest time, though, when you absolutely need it to unlock a new level, is when you don't have it, right? So basically, the times we need faith the most, the times we need to prove the faith that we have in whatever we're working on, right? Whether it's at work, whether it's a new career, whether it's like a personal health, whatever journey you find yourself going through, the best time, the most important time to have faith is really during the time where it feels like there's no hope for anything. That is exactly the time when you need to will yourself to actually have faith in what you're working on, right? Because what happens is a lot of times people are working on things and it seems like it's not working because they're not seeing the results right there, or it's not coming in the way that they expect it to show up, right? And what they do is this is what most people do. What most people do is in the moment where they need the most amount of faith, what they do is they turn back around to where it's comfortable. They turn back around to the situation that they've always complained was miserable to them, right? They turn back around to the situation that is the most comforting for them, right? As opposed to like surge through and like push through and have so much will inside of you where you understand that this is exactly when I need faith the most. This is exactly when I need to believe in myself the most, right? But what most people do is not that. What they do is they go back to what they're used to and what they're dealing with and what they've been putting up with just because it feels uncomfortable to face whatever it is that's in front of them. Um, and when that happens, I just when that happens, you know, then you're living the same situation that drives you crazy. I just think about it. So a lot of times people go to work and they feel miserable at work for whatever reason. Maybe they're not suited for the job, or the job conditions is not favorable to them, or the relationship with whatever it is that's going on is not suited, and they complain about it, and or they don't feel like their worth is being seen at the job, right? So they complain about it, and Monday comes and they dread waking up on Monday, and then Tuesday they have to like just by any means necessary drag themselves over there. By Wednesday they just can't take it anymore, right? And then by Thursday they start thinking, okay, you know what, I've had enough. I'm done with this, right? I can't keep doing this. I'm like, I'm gonna do this other stuff. I'm gonna go see this person and make this move, and I'm gonna figure out a better way for my situation. And then by Friday comes, right? By Friday, you will think that would be the best time to actually make the move that you've been planning to make. And then Friday comes, and all of a sudden, because work is over and you feel relaxed that you're not at work, we just kind of like forget about the plan that we had, which is to take action. And then we relax on the weekend. You know, we relax on Sunday, and then we relax on Saturday and Sunday, and don't do nothing about it, right? And then have to deal with the dreadness of waking up in the morning on Monday and do it over again. And it starts to become a cycle. It starts to become a cycle as opposed to just follow through on what you said you were gonna do, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it feels like everyone but you see exactly where you're going. Follow through on it. And he gave. Let me get back to this. He gave an example of so, for instance, David and Goliath from the Bible, right? And he was like, can you imagine, right, when David had those stones and that was his weapon to take on Goliath. Can you imagine if David doubted himself heading towards that fight? Like that's just like that's a no-no. Like you should never doubt yourself in the moment when you need the most absolute faith, you know? Like instead of doubting yourself, why don't we find something that empowers us, right? Or find words that empower us, or find people that is gonna back us and make us feel so much stronger, and then face the reality of the things that we're going through, right? It's like we don't do that. Instead, what happens is people start to, do the what if games. Like, what if it doesn't work out? Or what if, this happens? Or what if it doesn't go so well? Like just asking all of this empowering questions that makes us not want to take action. So faith is actually what makes us take action. It's really what makes us move forward in the things we want to do. It's very important. There's no other way. We have to have faith. We have to have strong faith. And I understand that sometimes it doesn't feel the strongest. But I'm telling you that to get to the next level of whatever it is you aspire for, whatever it is you desire, and it's tremendous amount of faith, right? There's a story in the Bible with Noah, and Noah, and he had to build this big boat for all the animals, and because God told him that there was going to be a storm and everything, right? And when he came back, he told everybody like, "Hey, there's going to be a storm, and I'm going to build this boat, and it's gonna, that's gonna save everybody." And everyone laughed at him, right? Can you believe that this guy built this boat for what, over 100 years, right? Because he had faith in what he heard. He had faith that if I stick to this, right, it's gonna solve my current situation that I am trying to overcome, right? So he stuck to it for years after years after years after years after years and after years, while everybody around him were laughing at him. Everybody around them were like, "Yo, you are out of your mind. There's no way you believe in this." So that's just, if you want to give a comparison of just how much faith is needed to get things done, that's just that just gives you a context, gives you an idea of what it takes to have faith in the stuff that we're working on, right? You have a new business and you're trying to promote it, but you're doubting yourself, thinking the customers are not going to engage with it, and because of that you don't post, right? As opposed to posting, because if you don't post, how would they know that you exist, right? You could have the best business model to solve people's problem, but if you don't share it, if you don't put it out there, if you don't speak about it, because you don't have faith in it, how would people ever know that you have this product, no matter how great it is, right? So that's the point he was making. He says, "Do you have enough faith that makes you work on a project that no one believes in?" Right? And then he talks about David and Goliath's story in the Bible. It says, doubts and doubt projects fear, right? Which is the same thing most people do, right? So doubt is fear. We doubt things. We question the things that we should not be questioning, as opposed to like have something that is empowering for us that can make us take action and do the things that we want to do, right? And he mentioned, David had so much faith in himself, right? That he had so much faith. It says God told him, if you enter this covenant with me, right, I'm going to give you something you can't get yourself. I'm going to take the source of your shame and make it the source of your fame. I'm going to bless those that bless you. I'm going to curse those that curse you, right? If you enter this covenant with me, I'm going to give you something you can't get yourself. I'm going to take the source of your shame and make it the source of your fame. I am going to bless those that bless you, and I'm going to curse those that curse you. Right? So when I read these words, right, it does everything to me. It charges me up. It lets me know that the things that I'm working on with the greatest of intention is meant to happen. It's gonna happen. So instead of doubting it, I 100% believe in it because it makes me take action that I couldn't have taken if I was doubting it. Right? It makes me take another step forward, a step that I would never take if I kept doubting it. Right? So a lot of people underestimate faith. It's like you need faith to get the things you want, right? They always say seeing is believing. Well, seeing is not believing. People have that backward, right? You're gonna have to believe it first before you see it. Like you're gonna have to see it first before you're gonna have to believe it first before you see it. Especially if you're working on something that is big. If you're working on something that will take greatness to achieve, you have to believe in it first. Like even when everybody around you cannot see it, you know, and that takes focus, right? There's something called the focusing illusion, right? And the focusing illusion is fascinating, right? Nothing in this world is as important as it seems while you're focusing on it, right? So this is what the focus illusion is. It says nothing in this world is as important as it seems while you're focusing on it. It says focus is a distraction to anything you're not focused on. Focus is a distraction to anything you're not focused on. In fact, distraction is focus, and focus is distraction. Distraction is focus, and focus is distraction. They're exactly opposite sides of the same coin. Uh, our problem is not an access problem, it's an awareness problem, right? The problem that you might have or you think you have is not because you're not able to do it or you don't have the ability for it. It's actually an awareness problem, right? And when you become aware of what you already are, if you become aware of what is already there, your awareness is what gives you access to go to it, right? Like, so, like, just think about it. There are a lot of people doing great things with less than you have, like less resources, less skills, less talent, less experience than we have, right? And they're doing it because they're aware of something that we're not aware of. So the problem is not that there's a lack of something. The problem is not that there's a lack of resource. The problem is not that there's a lack of access. The problem is there's a lack of awareness to give us the access that we need, right? So focus matters, and it goes along with faith, and it goes along with belief, and it goes along with all of these things, right? Right? So just to put things in context, he had so much faith that he negotiated his contract 3 times. Like that's how strong he believed in himself. He's like, if I'm gonna kill this guy, if I'm gonna slay this giant, what am I gonna get? Because I know I will do it. I know I can. What am I gonna get? And when he negotiated it and and he knew exactly what he was gonna get out of it, then he went towards it, just go. You just go. Didn't second guess what it is, didn't care what people thought about him, didn't care who was laughing at him. Like he just had this tunnel vision to focus on the thing he was working on. You know, it's just incredible when you think about it, right? I said faith is foundational, right? Right, because faith gives us something to stand on, right? Right, when it seems like there's so much chaos and so much destruction around, faith, you're late on the bill, your child is not doing well in school, the mortgage and all these things. All you need in that moment is faith to stand on it, right? To stand tall and stand strong, regardless of all these things to happen, and then take action, right? So faith is the substance that we stand on, right? We stand on it. Uh, do you realize that every action any of us ever taken in the present is because of an expectation that we have about the future, right? So when the things you do out of excitement, right? Say you're about to go hang out with your friends, or the excitement, what propels you to get ready and get dressed to go do this thing is because you expect the outcome to be favorable to you. You expect it to feel good, right? So it's the same thing with doubt, right? Doubt is the opposite of faith, right? When we doubt ourselves, it makes us not take action, right? Because we expect the outcome to not be favorable to us, right? It's like when someone goes for a job interview and they don't give their best, not because they're not the best at what they're doing, not because they don't know the stuff they're talking about, not because they don't have the experience, but because they expect not to get the job. So because of that, it takes away from their performance as opposed to going like you're gonna get the job, right? And that makes you, feel very charged and feel very motivated, you know, to give your best during the interview. And then whatever the outcome is, then it's just, it's just beyond you, right? So do you realize that every action any of us ever take or any of us have ever taken in the present is because of an expectation we have about the future, right? And every action we don't take in the present is because of an expectation we have about the future as well, right? So expectation matters. Like that's our biggest superpower. The things you expect determines how you move forward, right? Uh, we're making it as we go. You can talk about negative expectations like I'm not going to do well in this exam. I don't know how to do this, or uh, you know I'm not going to get the promotion. You're just making that up. It's not a fact. Like you don't know if you're going to get the promotion or not. You're making that up. You expect that because you don't feel confident about it. It's the same thing as saying I'm gonna, get the job and I'm gonna get the promotion. It's the same thing as feeling like, hey, I can do this work. I can get it done. It's the same. It's the same thing with the things we expect. Is what propels us. The way we expect things to happen is what either propels us to do it or holds us back from doing it. Right. So what we want to figure out is how to train our mind and train our body and train ourselves to only expect outcomes that are favorable to us. You got to put my charger in so this thing stays on. That's what we have to learn. We have to learn how to work our expectation in a way that it favors us. It favors us as opposed to it, um, hindering us. We don't want our expectation to hinder us. We want it to make us charge. We want it to make us go for the things we want. We want it to make us wake up in the morning and go. So it really matters to like work that muscle up. So yeah, why not tell yourself something empowering, right? Um, why not will ourselves about something empowering as opposed to like clouding, you know, our faith and everything with just doubt and negative thoughts and disbelief, right? We would perform so much better um, if we have stronger expectation, basically, right? We should learn to discipline ourselves, not to give or allow ourselves to expect any energy to anything that doesn't give us the outcome that we want, right? So the goal is to learn to discipline ourselves, not to give any energy to outcomes we don't desire, right? What most people do is they say they're trying. Like, trying really gets the job done, right? You're either doing it or you're not doing it. Like, trying just sounds like an excuse so that when you don't give your best, you can say, I tried, especially if it's something that you really want. You should not try for something you really want. You should actually give your best. You should just do it. It's like the Nike slogan, just do it, as opposed to trying. So we want to get to a point where we can avoid using that word trying, especially for things that we really want, you know. Um, Now faith is where I stand on the things that I hope for, right? Faith is futuristic. Faith is fundamental, right? There's no other way to slice it, right? We need faith, right? To achieve incredible things, to achieve great things, we need faith. Uh, what people don't realize is invisibility is more real than the physical world, right? What people don't realize is invisibility is more real than the physical world. Um, that's basically believe, and then it becomes reality. The things we hope for are invincible. It's all in our head, it's all in our mind, it's all in our thoughts, right? So they're actually real, and the physical world is a manifestation of the things that we hope for inside of us, right? um, in the moment of this drought, take inventory of what you're focused on in that moment, right? Here's what we have to do in that moment. In that moment where we feel disruption and we feel confused and we feel chaos, right? We should replace the anxious apprehension of the outcome we don't desire with the joyful anticipation of the outcome we do desire. That's what we should do in that moment. In the moment of doubt, in the moment of when it seems like everything is falling apart, in the moment where it feels like, you know, we're second guessing ourselves. We should replace those thoughts, right? That anxiousness of not getting the outcome we want to joyful anticipation of the outcome we actually desire. Like, what would happen if I actually pass this class, right? I'm going to move on to the next grade with my friends. What would happen if I actually post this offer that I have? You know, the people are going to see it and they're going to, want my service, So when we start feeling very good about the things we want, it makes us take action and it makes us give our best, you know. It's like when you like think like, whoa, if I write this book, it's gonna be a bestseller, right? That makes you write the best book that you possibly can. It makes you go out of your way to get all the resources that you need. So it matters how we empower ourselves with what we expect. If you expect less, then it's hard to demand for more, If you demand for more, if you demand nothing, if you expect nothing but the best, then it's hard to settle for less. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a thought process that we have to work. It's like a muscle. We can work our muscle, we can work our mindset to actually get to a level where it empowers us for the things we want to do, as opposed to a detriment to us. So um, replace the negative desire with positive desire. It's easy to do that when you don't need it, right? It's very easy to have faith when we don't need it. It's very easy to believe, we're the best when we don't have to prove it, right? But when we absolutely need it, it's the hardest time to have faith, right? So we're just knowing that, right? It just means that every time we have a situation, we have to be intentional. We have to focus in and narrow down the focus, and do the opposite, right? It's usually what it is. When you're tired, that's a cue to go exercise. When you exhausted, it's a cue to it's the remedy is usually the opposite stuff of however we're feeling. So it's easy to not need faith, or it's easy to have faith when we don't need it. But it's absolutely hard to have faith when we actually do need it, right? And that's exactly when we need it. We need to have faith in the toughest of situations. That's the most important time to have it. So we have to put the doubt away. We have to put the fear away. Um, Doubt and faith are just the same thing. It's two sides of an opposite coin. Doubt is the outcome we don't desire. Faith is the outcome we do desire, right? When you doubt things, it's because in your mind you feel like you're not gonna get it or it's not gonna happen for you. That's what makes you doubt it. But when you have faith, it's because you feel like you're gonna earn it, you're gonna get it. Um, it's kind of like the quote Jay Z said. He said, "I have so much confidence in myself I will never allow another person or anyone else to speed up my process, right? So a lot of times, especially in today's world with social media and just the world in general, right, where we have eyes on everybody else's stuff but us, right? So when we're working on something diligently and working so, taking the time to build this thing that needs time to be built, we look up and we look around and we just see somebody else's face and we feel like, oh, I should have that already, or I should make mine quicker, or I should, then it just takes away from our own process, because we looked at somebody else's and we think we should do their ours the way they're doing theirs. So that's what I get from that quote. I would have so much confidence in myself, I would never allow anyone to speed up my process, right? So just really mindful of the way we expect things, and be very intentional with our expectations of things. Like if you it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a tryout for sports. It doesn't matter if it's a rehearsal for a movie. It doesn't matter if it's an audition for a role or something. We want to go into those situations with the most amount of faith and belief in ourselves and in the outcome. Like we like there's zero room to doubt anything that we actually do desire. Like it's not a good idea. It's not good. Like it's just not good. It's like, why would you mix doubt into the things that you really want, as opposed to work that muscle of expectation, which is our biggest superpower as humans, and expect that we're going to get the best outcome, and think about the best outcome for this thing that we're going for, so that we can have so much in us to actually go for it and give our best. And whatever the outcome is, it's just the outcome. Then we can definitely sleep very well knowing we give our best. So um, when we have the kind of faith that David had, um, the kind of faith that all of these great people have, right? We have the ability to replace the anxious apprehension of the outcome we don't desire, right? With the joyful anticipation of the outcome we do desire, right? Since we're making up these stories about our future anyway, right? Why don't we instead make up stories that actually empowers us, right? And not the one that disempowers us. Um, I hope this was helpful. I hope someone is going to listen to this and feel even more confident about the steps that they take forward, and fully give their all, and stay charged. 30 minutes went by fast. All right. Thank you, everyone.